So one of the semifinals is set. Texas and Ohio State will play in the Cotton Bowl next Friday. The winner of this game will advance to the Capital One Orange Bowl a week from tonight to take on Penn State. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Sean McDonough along with Greg McElroy. Delighted to have you with us. After what's been a very emotional and difficult 36 hours here in New Orleans, the focus shifts to football, and it should be a very entertaining, exciting game here today. Greg, the big story of this game coming in will be Gunnar Stockton. He'll be the Georgia quarterback today. Redshirt sophomore from tiny Tiger, Georgia, up in the northeast corner of the state. He put up huge numbers there at Raven County High School. Set marks that had been held by Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. He took over in the second half of the SEC title game against Texas, led them back from 6-3 down to that overtime victory over the Longhorns. So the big question today for Georgia and in this game, how will he play and how will the Bulldogs offense change?
Well, it's going to change, and his offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo, compared his skill set to a young Baker Mayfield. He's tough, he's competitive, doesn't have quite the arm or the experience that Carson Beck would have, so expect him to lean a little more heavily on the run game, including quarterback run, and more protected throws outside the numbers against an excellent pass defense in Notre Dame.
His first career start, been in the program for 3 years, the first quarterback ever to make his first career start in a college football playoff game, which now spans 11 years. They have not played yet in this tournament, and the three teams that had the bye into the quarterfinals have all lost. So Georgia hopes that changes today. Meanwhile, Notre Dame, off its victory against Indiana, they were able to run the ball, which is their strength, against the #1 Indiana rush defense in that victory in South Bend. It'll be a challenge to run again today against a very big Georgia Bulldog front.
Well, if anybody can do it, it might be this Notre Dame trio of weapons in the backfield. Jeremiah Love, one of the fastest running backs in all of college football. Not to be overlooked, though, is Jadarian Price. Both are 1 and 2 in the country in yards after contact per carry. But don't forget about Riley Leonard and how he can impact the game with his legs as well. They use him an awful lot in the red zone as they get close to the end zone.
Notre Dame 12-1, the 12 wins matching the school record. It's the 5th time they've done it. They're about to take the field. Owners of an 11-game winning streak after that shocking loss to Northern Illinois in week 2. 11 times the national champs, but they haven't won it all since 1988. Their 11-game winning streak, the longest in the country.
They're probably the best group of backs we've faced this year. The athleticism of the quarterback, his ability to escape the pocket. At the end of the day, you got to tackle these guys.
Really good defense. Fast, physical, fly around, sideline to sideline. It does start up front for them, just like it starts up front for us.
We have 3 pillars here: out hit, out hustle, and out compete.
It's win or go home.
And the Georgia Bulldogs in the tunnel, getting ready to take the field. They haven't played since that SEC title victory over Texas on December 7th. They arrive at 11-2. Trying to win their 3rd national championship in the last 4 seasons. We'll have more from New Orleans in just a moment.
It is a scene unlike anything we have seen before.
There's no feeling like the feeling of something new.
Jeremiah Love trying to go 98. What a run!
This is obviously why I came to Notre Dame. I'm going to go out swinging. I want to compete for it all.
When euphoria fades, reality takes hold. The Irish get the Bulldogs.
Attack mode all night!
Retooled.
This team has been sparked by Gunnar Stockton.
Rested. And ready.
It's win win or go home. It's that simple.
Notre Dame.
Since week 2, we've been playing in a playoff game.
Right now, stop. Right now. Give everything you've got.
And Georgia.
We're built for this now. We're built for this. You cut it loose. Let's go.
On each sideline, let's start with Molly McGrath with Marcus Freeman.
Thank you, Sean. Coach, your defensive front lost a force in Captain Riley Mills. How do you generate pressure on Gunnar Stockton without him?
Well, you're going to have to generate it through schematic things, but also just through relentless effort. You're not going to replace Riley Mills with one person, but we got to replace his production with multiple people and play relentlessly, and that's what they'll do.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Now let's go to Laura with Kirby Smart.
All right, thanks, Molly. Coach, what is important for Gunnar Stockton getting his first start as your quarterback in this game?
Play with confidence, play with poise. A running game would mighty help.
And then what do you need to do defensively against Riley Leonard and that Notre Dame offense?
Try to make him one-dimensional. He's a really talented player. He's got great arm talent, and he can run. So we control the line of scrimmage.
All right, thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you, Laura.
Sean.
All right, Laura, thank you. Notre Dame deferred, and that'll put Gunnar Stockton and the Georgia offense on the field first. One quick development. Mitch Jeter back as the kickoff man. He was the first half of the year, and then he suffered a groin injury in week 6, kicking off against Stanford. Eddie Goins had been kicking off since, but Jeter feels he's fully healthy now, so he's the kickoff man. Much more of a touchback kicker. 18 of his 28 have gone for touchbacks. This one will as well, over the head of Anthony Evans. So here comes Georgia, led by Gunnar Stockton, who appeared in 4 games this season and played the second half and overtimes against Texas. Not eye-popping numbers, but from the minute he entered the game, they moved the football. They scored points on 3 of his first 4 possessions.
He really galvanized all 10 other players in the huddle. They elevated their level of play, and it became difficult to defend with a mobile option at quarterback in the absence of the excellent Carson Beck. First start for Stockton since 2021 in a state playoff game. Rabun County lost to Thomasville in Class 2A. Trevor Etienne dropped for a loss. Jalen Sneed drops it for a loss of 2. It's an outstanding Notre Dame defense, second in the country in scoring defense, giving up only 13.8 points per game. Only Ohio State better. They're coordinated on defense by Al Golden. And he spoke all throughout the week about the importance of creating negative plays on first and second down to get an inexperienced quarterback off schedule in 3rd and longs. On 2nd and 12, Stockton dropped for another loss. A loss of a yard. Joshua Burnham, the defensive end, on the tackle, junior from Traverse City, Michigan. 3rd down and long, exactly the situation. No team likes to be in 3rd and long, but particularly first possession in the first start for a new quarterback. And going against a pass defense that is electric. They're a little thin on the outside with the loss of Benjamin Morrison, the All-American, but Leonard Moore and Christian Gray have been excellent at corner all season long. Notre Dame's played that excellent defense despite a lot of injuries, and more with the loss of Mills. Deep throw, incomplete. The Georgia sideline wants a flag on Christian Gray. Dylan Bell, the intended receiver, and there is a flag on the play.
Pass interference, number 29, defense.
Looked like right there, the left hand, that's exactly what they'll call him for. Gray working against Bell, and Gray has been the guy that teams have tried to attack these last few weeks. Leonard Moore, the freshman on the other side, you would think with his youth, he'd be the guy you'd go after, but Gray got picked on a lot against USC, and Georgia tried to attack him early to test his confidence. As much as people have talked about the cornerback play for Notre Dame, they're outstanding in pass defense. Second in the country. Here's some trickery. Cash Jones flipped it off to the speedster Arian Smith, and he's dropped for a loss.
Big loss back to the 33-yard line. The All-American Xavier Watts there for the Irish for a loss of 5.
That was a terrific job by not just Xavier Watts, but also Drake Bowen at linebacker. And these linebackers have a really tall task today. With the absence of the big physical interior defensive lineman Riley Mills, Drake Bowen and Jalen Sneed and Jack Kaiser are going to be asked to do an awful lot to create confusion along the front.
And Bowen gives them size in the middle of that defense. He's a big linebacker, 240 pounds. Stockton kept it. And he got tackled by Xavier Watts. A gain of 6. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Just more than 2 minutes gone by. And Georgia with the first possession of the football game.
And even with Carson back, this Georgia offense on 3rd down, just 63rd in the country, and especially on 3rd and longs. If you get more than 3rd and 4, they're at under 30%. So they have not been good on 3rd down all season long.
Etienne, the running back. Notre Dame shows blitz. They do blitz a lot. Stockton flushed. Running out of time. He got hit by Jack Kaiser. And the ball wound up going out of bounds. Officials ruling it an incomplete pass.
Well, Jack Kaiser is watching Etienne, the running back, playing man coverage. Is what they do an awful lot of. But as soon as Etienne gets caught in the traffic up front, it frees him up to converge on the young Gunner Stockton. He arrives, and it looks like that ball doesn't come out of his hand before the hand starts moving forward. It might be a fumble, which would potentially give some more yards into the backfield.
Passes under further review.
And the replay review has stopped it. Brad Van Vark is the replay official.
Let's look at it there. Is the hand moving forward? Doesn't look like it is. This ball might move further back in Georgia territory.
After the replay review, this was deemed a fumble instead of an incomplete forward pass. So it's a difference of 12 yards. They've moved the ball back now to the Georgia 27. And with the attention on Gunner Stockton, here's another big story. Drew Miller is also a first-time starter. This is his first career college punt. Brett Thorson, their All-American punter, was injured in the championship game against Texas. So here's Miller, freshman from Iowa, very highly recruited. They came after him and they hit him. Bryce Young hit the punter. Fair catch is made by Max Hurleman. Just a 34-yard punt for Miller. Notre Dame, one of the best punt blocking teams in the country. They blocked 3 of them during the regular season and 6 kicks total. And the question is it 5 or 15? And I think the indication there from Michael Vandervelde is that it's just going to be 5. Then the question would be for Kirby Smart, Greg, do they want to punt it again? It wasn't a great punt.
But your punter also just took a big hit. So are you better off giving him a little time after his first career punt that wasn't great?
Running into the kicker, number 30 of the receiving team. 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
Potentially let off the hook significantly. He's all the way over here, as you can see, coming full speed at the punter and hitting that leg. Very fortunate that that was not a 15-yard penalty, which would have resulted in their second automatic first down by way of penalty in the first drive.
Let's bring in Matt Austin, our rules expert. Matt, what do you think, 5 or roughing the kicker?
Well, I know that the defender only hit the plant leg, but he hit it, or the kicking leg, but he hit it considerably. I think 15 yards would have been more appropriate here.
So Miller will kick again. Now it's 4th down and 16. You're a Georgia fan, you have to be a little bit concerned about the offense so far. That was a bit of a fire drill for Gunner Stockton and his mates. They went after Miller again. They hit him again. It was Bryce Young again. Hurleman trying to return the punt. Georgia fans booing now as their new punter gets hit for the second time. What a way to start your college career for Drew Miller. Out of Mediopolis, Iowa, where he's also a high school quarterback and a soccer goalie who won all state honors in that sport. I think it's going to be 5 again, because again they're looking to Kirby to ask him if he wants the penalty or not.
Yeah, if the last one wasn't 15, then that one probably wasn't. That one wasn't nearly as physical, but a big mistake.
The kicker, number 30 on the receiving team. Penalties decline. First down, Notre Dame.
You got to look. I know you're excited. I know you're fired up, and I know you've made a season terrorizing quarterbacks, but don't terrorize punters. They're protected, and that right there, just a bad mistake by Young. He's an excellent young player, but got to pull off if he can't get there, and that time he does it, runs through him again.
They come after the punter a lot, and Young is huge, 6'7". He's a big part of their blocking success. He's blocked 3 of those 6 kicks. Marty Biaggi is the special teams coach who's done a tremendous job. So finally, Notre Dame on offense, led by Riley Leonard. Unlike Stockton, an experienced veteran, couple of years as a starter at Duke, transferred to Notre Dame this year, where he's been the starter throughout. Senior from Fairhope, Alabama. Jeremiah Love was in the backfield. Leonard threw it through the hands of Love as he was chased to the boundary. There's a late flag thrown by the referee, Michael Vandervelde.
Looked like the ball was thrown by Leonard, batted back to him by Michael Williams. He ran outside the pocket and tried to throw it again.
Well, a lot for the officials to sort out very early.
Pass. The quarterback threw a second forward pass. That is a loss of down and a 5-yard penalty at the spot of the foul. Second down.
You quarterbacks are always trying to get away with something.
Maybe they didn't see me throw it. It was a pretty heads-up play by Michael Williams, knowing he wasn't going to get home and putting his hands up to deflect the pass. But Riley Leonard, I mean, saved the hit, I suppose. It's the same result. Throw it away, but big mistake there.
Trying to enhance his passing stats. He struggled early on at Notre Dame, learning a new offense, new teammates, particularly rough outing in that loss to NIU. But since then, he's been rock solid and an improved passer, especially with downfield accuracy. They tried to bring a blitz. Jeremiah Love across the 25, tackled by Jalen Walker, the Butkus Award winner, as the best linebacker in the country and an All-American.
Both these teams really made it a high priority not to get into 3rd and long situations because of the great pass defense that Notre Dame has. That's why Georgia wants to avoid it. Notre Dame wants to avoid it because the elite pass rush that you see from the Georgia Bulldogs, headlined by the Butkus Award winner Jalen Walker.
Aeneas Williams is in. He's frequently in on 3rd down and running back. Excelled in that role in the win against Indiana. Bo Collins went in motion. He's their leading receiver. Leonard, nervous feet, throws it away. He was under pressure from Jalen Walker, who can do it all at the linebacker spot.
And you see a lot of movement on the left side. Look at all these 3 guys right here, which allows Jalen Walker one-on-one. On the right-hand side, they slide their whole offensive line to the left, allowing that one-on-one. And Walker's able to almost get home. He doesn't quite get it. Might have gotten away with a hold, too, by Wagner, the right tackle, who had to grab that jersey. And either way, deflected pass and a great start for the Georgia defense.
James Rendell is the Notre Dame punter. From Melbourne, Australia, that's a boomer. And Malachi Starks fielded it at the 19-yard line. 53-yard punt.
Talking with Mike Bobo, and how do you get a young quarterback comfortable in a setting like this? And he said, hey, look, our first 10 plays are going to probably be our most reliable plays, the plays that he's had the most reps with, not just this bowl prep, but throughout the entire season, fall camp, summer, even spring ball. So these are their best plays, and so far it hasn't been a great start with their effectiveness running them.
Second possession for Georgia. Trevor Etienne with some help from that enormous offensive line. Made his way out to the 26-yard line. A pickup of 7. Here's Laura Rutledge.
Well, Sean, you and Greg are talking about getting Gunnar Stockton as comfortable as possible. After that first offensive possession, a lot of conversation between Gunnar and Trevor Etienne, talking about what could work better, as well as Kirby Smart coming over to check on Gunnar, telling him it's fine, it's all good. Some smiles with him, and Carson Beck came over to talk to him as well, encouraging him down here.
Blitz. Stockton, back shoulder throw on the money to Dylan Bell. Dylan Bell stumbles down, or he might have gone the distance. They're going to mark Bell out of bounds way back at his own 38-yard line, near where he made the catch.
And this was a great job by Dylan Bell, turning at the last second to create that sudden separation against Leonard Moore. Did that left foot go out right there? Yep, looks like it did. Good completion there, though, from Gunnar Stockton, and a tremendous catch by Bell.
And they said they were reviewing it to see if it was a completed pass. And we'll give you the verdict when we come back. The All-State Sugar Bowl is underway in New Orleans. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, the best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100th anniversary to the Goodyear blimp. After review, it was deemed to be a catch, and Dylan Bell out of bounds at the 38-yard line. So first down for Georgia. And the first completion for Gunnar Stockton goes for 12 yards. Played in 4 games this year, 4 games last season. In 2022, he was on the scout team all year behind Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck. Trevor Etienne weaves ahead for a yard. Adon Schuler, excellent defensive back, made the tackle.
This Georgia offensive line is massive across the board. They feel like they have a lot of physical prowess and ability to just lean on what is now a relatively undersized Notre Dame defensive front. So expect them to continue to pound inside, where they have nearly a 50-pound advantage along the front.
Nate Frazier in at running back now. He's actually their leading rusher for the year, because Etienne missed 4 games. Good tackle along the boundary by Schuler on Dylan Bell. And just a 2-yard pickup for Georgia. Ordinarily, Notre Dame along that defensive line, Greg, just likes to line up and play it pretty straight. And Al Golden said Riley Mills was the best at just slugging it out with a big offensive line, as Georgia has. With some smaller people taking the place of Mills, he expects to move the front around a lot more than he ordinarily does today.
Yeah, with 2 defensive tackles that are around 280 pounds, they're going to have to get creative and use athleticism as opposed to size to weather the storm of that offensive front.
Just a 4-man rush on Stockton. Beautiful throw. Delivered with confidence. A strike to Dylan Bell for a 10-yard gain. And a 3rd down conversion for Georgia.
And man coverage, and that's not the guy that they've been going after against Notre Dame. Howard Cross nearly gets a hand on it, but the accuracy right on the upfield shoulder from the big-bodied Bell, who catches it with some speed over the middle. It's a great conversion and throw for the young quarterback.
An anxious moment as Bell secured it. Georgia's had problems with drops all season long, particularly by the wide receiver core. Stockton, another rocket of a throw to Dominic Lovett. And he's near another first down. Xavier Watts made the tackle. They're going to mark him just short by about a half yard.
Lovett is a guy they need to continue to get involved. He's so good with the ball in his hands. It can become a #1 receiver if they continue to give him looks.
Second and short. They went with some tempo, and Nate Frazier, the freshman from Compton, California, ahead for 5. And the Bulldogs on their second possession, crisply on the move now.
Really good rhythm to this drive, too. They've mixed in a little bit tempo. They've been able to mix some of their formations. They've run it to the inside. They've taken a couple shots against man coverage. And now, with 1st and 10 around the 36-yard line, I'd be thinking maybe taking a shot if I'm Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator. He knows he needs to be aggressive in this part of the field.
Bobo himself, a former Georgia quarterback back in the mid and late 90s. Stockton, short throw to Etienne, who's out of bounds after a pickup of 1.5 yards. Laura?
Well, Sean, something to keep an eye on for Georgia. Wide receiver Dylan Bell is currently in the medical tent, and Cash Jones is dealing with a right shoulder injury. He's in the locker room, but Georgia officials telling me he is expected to return.
Jones particularly important on 3rd down for that Georgia offense. So Gunnar Stockton 5 for 5. Settling in on the 2nd possession. Carries for 1 yard. Greg Bowen made the tackle. There is a flag on the play.
Offside, number 30. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. It's a 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Bryce Young, who's twice run into the punter and now lines up offside. He's the son of the great NFL Hall of Famer Bryant Young.
And you see that line of scrimmage. I mean, that left hand is in the neutral zone, and the helmet, that gold helmet, beautiful gold shiny helmet. Can't miss that. You might be able to get away with it if you didn't have such a beautiful golden dome on top of your head, but he's got to settle down a little bit. A few too many mistakes.
Are you talking about my golden dome or some nice helmets in this quarterfinal? Love the Oregon helmets yesterday. Frazier, the running back, and he gets stacked up just short of the 1st down. Junior Tui Alamaka at the bottom of the pile for Notre Dame.
Here on a 3rd and short plus territory. Probably thinking about 4-down territory, too. I mean, this could be a spot where if you like to run it, that's no problem, but you're probably going to keep your offense on the field when you get to this down and distance.
Well, Frazier is the running back. Cash Jones emerging from the medical attention. And a flag thrown.
False start, number 69. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Tate Ratledge saying my bad. Excellent right guard. 3rd team AP All-American.
And this is Notre Dame using Georgia's technique against them. You often see Georgia's defensive line shift across in short yardage. That time Notre Dame does, and the right guard flinches to make 3rd down a much more difficult proposition.
Ratledge is 6'6", 320. That makes him one of the smaller Georgia offensive linemen. The smallest, if that's the right word, is the left guard, Dylan Fairchild, and he's 315 pounds. Etienne, the running back, now on 3rd down and 6. Etienne powers for a 1st down. Looked like he had forward progress across the line to gain, and he did before he was driven back. 7-yard gain for the Louisiana native from Jennings back in his home state.
And just a great job by Georgia taking advantage of the numbers of Notre Dame. There were 3 guys on the left side of the center, and that's exactly what they ran into. There's your 3 defensive players on the left side of center. You run right at it. You have numbers and leverage. And as a result, it forces those linebackers to tackle Etienne at an angle. And you can't do that with that much momentum moving forward.
11th play of the drive. 5 rushes, 5 passes so far. Etienne got stood up and dropped by Gabriel Rubio. One of those who'll see more action than he ordinarily does today in the absence of Riley Mills.
And they like Gabriel Rubio and his size. He's not going to be as dominant or as likely to take the game over as Riley Mills naturally, but they do think he can hold up on the interior. And that time he kind of spun in there for Al Golden's defense and found a running back to drop him for a short gain.
Nate Frazier, the running back. Stockton faked it to him. Dominic Lovett taken out of bounds just shy of the 1st down marker, tackled by Jordan Clark. for an 8-yard gain. Clark was excellent against Indiana. Transfer from Arizona State. They don't lean much on transfers. Only 13% of their starts all year have been from transfer players, among the fewest in the country. For Marcus Freeman, he said, we're never going to major in the transfer portal. We will minor in it. And Dylan Bell is back on the field. Wide to the left of Stockton on 3rd down and a short 2.
2 tight ends in the ball game. Expect inside handoff here.
ETN, they brought a blitz. The ball's out. Don Schuler put the hit on. Notre Dame has recovered the fumble. Jaden Osbury. Well, one way to make up for not having Mills is to blitz in a hurry.
And Adon Schuler goes in, puts that helmet right on the football. It pops out. Nobody can find it initially, and then Osbury, the Louisiana native, finally pounces on it. What a huge turnover for the Fighting Irish.
Notre Dame with the takeaway. They've made a living with the takeaways all season long. The only game they did not at least fare evenly in the turnover margin was their only loss to Northern Illinois. 30 takeaways, tied with Texas now for the most in the country. And they're plus 17 is the first career lost fumble for ETN. Jeremiah Love on 1st down. And that includes Trevor's time at the University of Florida, where he played a couple of years before transferring to Georgia this year. Total of 65 career carries without a fumble prior to that one. And he has some uneasiness about playing in this building. I mentioned Trevor's from Louisiana. He lost a high school state championship game in this building. His brother, Travis, the great former Clemson star, now Jacksonville Jaguar, lost here 3 times in college and broke his foot here in an NFL exhibition game. Jordan Faison, the catch and run. He was the receiving star of their win against Indiana with 7 catches for 89, and this one goes for 14.
I think he's the toughest cover on this entire Notre Dame team. He's so quick. He's got big-time top-end speed. Showed it in the game against Indiana on the big post that he caught. And there, Daniel Harris, no chance on the in-breaking slant where tons of separation was created.
First down for Notre Dame. They haven't had the ball much. Georgia's had more than 10 minutes time of possession. Jeremiah Love, who started off this college football playoff with a 98-yard touchdown run, the longest in the 11-year history of the CFP, matched the longest in Notre Dame history. It was the first touchdown of the game against Indiana. He told us at Media Day a couple of days ago he wasn't sure how effective he'd be. He was really bothered by the flu. You wouldn't know it. His carries were down a bit in that game because of the illness.
Number 59, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Emil Wagner, the right tackle for Marcus Freeman in his 3rd year as Notre Dame head coach. Here's Molly.
Well, Sean, you mentioned Jeremiah Love's illness. He told us just 2 days ago he's still feeling the lingering effects of it. He's congested, has shortness of breath, admitted he felt like he was going to pass out at times during the Indiana game, but it obviously didn't affect his performance, but they are monitoring him closely, guys.
At least it's a lot warmer in here today. He was dealing with flu-like symptoms in 20-degree-plus temperatures. Mitchell Evans the catch, and he's dropped by K.J. Bolden. Freshman all-SEC player out of Beaufort, Georgia. 1-yard gain for Notre Dame in the final seconds of this first quarter.
Yet another difficult 3rd down approaching Riley Leonard. It's twice now they've been way behind the sticks, inviting that athletic pass rush from Georgia to wreak havoc.
That's the end of the first
Georgia
quarter.
had a 7-minute drive that ended in a fumble. No score at the end of the first quarter. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl from New Orleans.
you get your offense going against this Georgia pass rush?
You know, we got to be able to run the ball, and we're going to try. We're going to keep going, and you know, we'll be fine. You know, we got to clean up some of the pre-snap penalties. That's the stuff that's going to hurt our entire team. You know, I'm okay with aggressive penalties, but the pre-snap ones where you line off sides and your false start, we got to fix that.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Certainly help his offense if they could stay on the field. They ran just 7 plays in the first quarter to 18 for Georgia. The Dogs had the ball for 10 minutes and 22 seconds of the 15 minutes. Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame, one of the very best in the business.
Mike Denbrock really stressed the importance of complementary football, too, knowing that the defense, without some key pieces, they're going to be thin. That rotation is not as deep, so they cannot allow the time of possession and the snap exposure for their defense to get too out of control. So got to start putting together some third downs and some drives, take the pressure off.
Notre Dame's had just 1 first down. This is 3rd down and 11. The Irish in their own 26. Leonard into a crowd. Good catch made by Jaden Harrison. And a good tackle by the All-American safety Malachi Starks. Just a 4-yard gain, and the Irish will punt again.
Yeah, and they just cannot continue to live in 3rd and long situations. Coming into this game, they've converted just 10 of 62. That's the 2nd worst conversion percentage in the Power 4 behind Wisconsin. So they have got to get to more 3rd and 3 to make sure that they can avoid those long yardage pass rushers.
Rendell, low spinning kick this time, takes a great bounce for the Irish for a bit. Going to be down near the 22. Looked like Gunnar Stockton started to find a rhythm in the last possession for Georgia.
Time now for the Chick-fil-A move on the field, and it's the Notre Dame defense so far. They're doing a lot of movement. They have to. They've lost their 315-pound defensive tackle. The good news is the linebackers still have great athleticism. So does the front. You see over the top by Steen on the first play. You see the movement here at second play, which frees up Kaiser to close on Stockton to force the fumble. And then a moment later, after what was a pretty successful drive from Georgia, gets stopped as a result of Schuler delivering a big hit, dislodging the football from Etienne to turn over the Georgia Bulldogs. Been a pretty good start for the Irish.
Etienne, the running back, play action fake by Stockton. Arian Smith behind the defender. He is one of the fastest men in college football, and they caught him. Xavier Watts got him at the 11-yard line, and then a late flag thrown by the side judge. He beat Christian Gray in coverage for 67.
And look at how fast Arian Smith, Christian Gray, kind of squatting there, thinking the route's going to be underneath. You can't do that against one of the fastest men in college football. Arian Smith goes right behind him. The ball is perfectly thrown to the outside shoulder, and while drops have been a challenge at times for Arian Smith, it was not right there. It was a great throw and a great catch down the sideline.
And you saw at the end, the side judge collided with somebody on the Georgia sidelines and reached for his side, and then as he marked the ball out of bounds, he threw a flag. It's J.B. Garza. And they're assessing a penalty against Georgia.
Let's look as the official running down, and number 39 runs right into the official, which slows him down. And that's who ultimately calls the penalty. You have to stay out of that white part. That is the official's area. They own that white part of the sideline. Usually have a get back coach, and that time a big 15-yard penalty.
Instead of the 11, they're on the 26. Etienne. Let's bring in Matt Austin about that. Matt, is that the kind of thing you have to flag the first time it happens?
If there's contact, yes, because as Greg said, it's dangerous down there. He's running full speed to keep up with the play, to get a good spot. And if somebody gets in his way, there's a collision. It's extremely dangerous. So, yeah, that's a good call.
Clearly, in the field is Parker Jones, number 39. You have to give the official the white area. You see he's standing way back there now. Not going to make the same mistake twice.
They bring everybody to these bowl games that they can. Dylan Bell took a handoff. He's played some running back in addition to wide receiver. Didn't get much there. But that must be the worst feeling in the world for Jones. Obviously not intending to interfere with the officials, just caught up in the excitement.
Yeah, it's just wrong place, wrong time. I feel bad for that young man. I mean, he didn't do anything malicious. He was just in the way as the official was trying to run down, and makes it very tough. Kind of squanders all momentum created by the big play.
Cash Jones in on third down on the right hip of Gunnar Stockton. Al Golden said Cash Jones is an issue on third down. They throw instead way over the head of Dylan Bell along the near sideline. So that sideline penalty huge. And Parker Jones hopes that Georgia goes on to win this game comfortably and everybody forgets about it. They don't want to live in infamy for colliding with an official on the sideline.
Yeah, it's like the college football version of what, Bartman in Chicago or something like that. I hope it doesn't come down to that, that's for sure.
Here's Peyton Woodring, another Louisiana native from Lafayette, a couple of hours away. Made 34 straight from inside of 50. This is 41. And Gunnar Stockton is the new holder. And no problem with the operation. Woodring, one of the best in college football, has now made 21 out of 23 for the year, and both misses have been from beyond 50. Georgia leads 3-0. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl. This season, All-State celebrates every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, All-State. 3 points on the board off the foot of Peyton Woodring. And a 3-0 Georgia lead. Notre Dame had not trailed at any time during their previous 6 games. Woodring kicks off, and no chance for Jaden Harrison to return it. The road to the college football playoff championship continues next week with the semifinal games. The winner of this game will advance to the Capital One Orange Bowl a week from tonight, Thursday, January 9th, to take on Penn State. And in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, Ohio State and Texas. On Friday, January 10th, Ohio State has clearly been the best team in this playoff so far. A couple of dominant wins. Haven't trailed since they trailed early against Georgia Tech, which turned out to be a fairly easy Notre Dame win. Riley Leonard on target to Jordan Faison. Just 7 plays run in the first quarter for the Irish, their fewest in a first quarter since 2015.
I think Mike Denbrock going to have to do things like he just did on that last play. Move the pocket a little bit. Get the athleticism of Riley Leonard. Make Georgia's defenders think about that by changing the launch point and giving him an easy completion.
Design quarterback run, a draw out of the gun for a first down. Chaz Chambliss stopped Leonard after a 5-yard pickup. Riley Leonard's from not too far away. Easy drive to Fairhope, Alabama, and Mobile Bay. His family here, that's his mom, Heather. With the kind of anxiety on her face that you typically see from a parent watching her son play. Jadarian Price is in at running back now. He stumbled as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Ty Ingram Dawkins, the tackle for Georgia.
Darian Price would likely be the top back just about anywhere else in the country, not named maybe Ohio State. One of the best in the country as far as yards after contact. He runs so low to the ground, but he's really powerful and don't sleep on his speed. Not as fast as Love, but still very capable on the outside as well.
Love and Price both off the field with Aeneas Williams, the running back. Another design run for Leonard. weaving through the traffic. Riley Leonard with the biggest play so far, and then it looked like they grabbed his face mask. The Irish sideline wants a flag. It's a gain to the 29-yard line of Georgia.
And it's a little bit of a counter, but that play's designed to hit to the left-hand side. Riley Leonard sees a lot of green grass to the right. He cuts it back, and there's plenty of space for him to get out to the open field. That's great vision by the quarterback.
Smacked in the helmet, but not a penalty against Raylan Wilson. First and 10, Jadarian Price. Talk about yards after contact. There's an example of it. Now there is the play. Well, it does look like they twisted him by the face mask. Matt Austin, what do you think?
Well, it certainly could have been called. Anytime you get a part of the face mask and twist or turn the helmet, it could be a 15-yard penalty, but didn't get it this time.
Looked like enough of a twist to warrant 15 yards to me, Sean. I'm surprised they missed that one.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious even from here that his head spun around. First replay just looked like he got slapped off the side of the head. Nice play by Dalen Everett to break up a pass intended for Jaden Thomas. Everett was the MVP of their SEC championship game win over Texas. He had 2 interceptions.
There's a very aggressive secondary. They're going to be physical with these receivers. Everett, you can see the hand kind of been grabbing around. Number 83, Jaden Thomas, didn't get the call, though. It's going to be a physical game on the perimeter. Both sides very much like to interact and be aggressive against those receivers.
And Ace Williams, the running back, they are in field goal range with Jeter healthier. Quick wide receiver pop to Jaden Greathouse, and nowhere to go there. Georgia was ready for that with Xavier McLeod and Smile Munden. So here comes Jeter. Field goal kicking a problem for much of the year. Mitch Jeter, first-year transfer after 4 at South Carolina, where he's one of the best in the country. But injured his groin in week 6 against Stanford and really struggled. Notre Dame had the worst field goal kicking combined in the country. They were the only team in the regular season under 50%. But Jeter struck it well in that game against Indiana. And that's his usual form. From 44, it's a tie game. 8:20 to go in the first half.
The CFP quarterfinal at the Allstate Sugar Bowl is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. And Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Scenes from the first meeting between these two schools in the 1981 Sugar Bowl and the 1980 season national championship for Vince Dooley and the Bulldogs, led by a true freshman running back, Herschel Walker, who ran for 150 and 2 touchdowns against the Irish and was the Sugar Bowl MVP.
Hold Herschel to 150. That's a pretty good day defensively.
Herschel suffered a separated shoulder in the first quarter of that game. Played the rest and led them to victory. President Georgia native Jimmy Carter was in attendance with about 3 weeks to go in his term, and our condolences to the Carter family on the passing of President Jimmy Carter. So Mitch Jeter will kick off after his field goal. Growing healthier in large part because his dad, Andrew, a chiropractor back in their hometown of Salisbury, North Carolina, has made some trips up to South Bend to help his son get aligned properly and get back fully healthy. His kickoff is a touchback over the head of Evans, wearing shorts today. ESPN Bowl Mania continues with an ACC-SEC clash. After we're finished here, it's the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Duke and Ole Miss. First ever appearance of the Gator Bowl for Duke. Terrific 9-win season for Manny Diaz in their first season with him as the head coach. Ole Miss hasn't been to the Gator since 1990 when they lost to Michigan. Tied at 3 nearly midway through the second quarter. First and 10 Dogs from the 25. Stockton Taken down from behind and did well to hang on to it as he did not see Junior Taliamaka coming after him.
And Tui Alamaka goes right around Monroe Freeling. This left tackle position has been a bit of a problem all season long for the Georgia Bulldogs. It started with Ernest Green. He got banged up, was replaced by Freeling, which calmed things down a bit. But this time, Tui Alamaka comes right around the edge and drops Stockton again in the backfield.
First sack for the Irish for Tuli Alamaka, junior from California. His third sack of the year. On second and long, Oscar Delp, the tight end, for a first down. They convert on second and 18 as Stockton fired to his roommate and very close friend Oscar Delp for 21.
With all the man coverage that you're going to get from Notre Dame, quarterbacks are naturally thinking working against tight ends and running backs. You could find a favorable matchup for your tight end like they did right there with Delp. Take it. They're going to create a ton of separation.
Georgia fans booing as Watts is down and being tended to. Georgia was trying to go quickly, but the injury stops the action. They picked up the tab for 250 students from each school. So these passionate fans become cheer on their teams, wearing Livermore student section scarves, some of them.
A moment ago, Xavier Watts having to go off the field, all because Jordan Clark, his teammate number 1, stepped on him, lost his shoe, trying to run off, can't get there in time, so has to go down. They don't like to fake the penalties. That, I think, is a good reason not to go down, correct?
Yeah, the old fake injury. We've seen it a lot this season. Trevor Etienne, that time great push by the offensive line. He went a long way before he got touched. Tackled by Leonard Hamilton. But a gain of 8, and Xavier Watts with the shoe back on is quickly back in. Stockton kept it. Probably didn't have a good option either way because they were about to smother Etienne if he took the handoff. Tui Alamaka dropped Stockton for a 1-yard loss.
Those are the negative plays that Al Golden's defense needs to continue to try to create. Third and short, you'd be thinking Lovett here with press coverage across the board. This might be a spot here. If you can get Lovett in a one-on-one with the safety to the right-hand side, I don't hate the opportunity to potentially work one of these two guys there in the slot.
It's dealt to the inside of Lovett. Stockton given a pocket, zings another one. It's not held on to by Lovett. With Jordan Clark in coverage, the son of Ryan Clark, 13-year NFL defensive back, and now our colleague at ESPN.
It looked like the ball was thrown behind, and it was well covered by Clark, who's really played well these last couple weeks. And that ball's thrown accurately, you got a much better chance. But on the back hip, there's no chance.
Drew Miller got run into twice in his first attempts to punt in college football. A little extra muscle in front of him now with Freeling and Bobo. They've had 2 big bodies out there earlier.
I hope they reminded Bryce Young not to run into the kicker as well.
They came after him. Short punt. Max Hurleman returns to the 25-yard line. Jalen Walker, their Butkus Award-winning linebacker, down there covering punts. Let's head down to the tunnel. Check in with Jen Latta.
Thanks, guys.
Checking first is smart. Check Allstate first and see what you can save.
I have a feeling that was not live. Interesting, effective messaging. Plausibly live, maybe not even plausibly live. Defensive battle, not a huge surprise. Big edge in plays run, total yards, and time of possession for Georgia, but it's Notre Dame ball right now. Jeremiah Love, the running back. He stayed in the block, and Walker slowed him down a bit. Here's Faison. Seems to be at his best in the biggest moments. Round one against Indiana, and last year in their bowl win against Oregon State in the Sun Bowl, he was the game MVP.
And great protection up front. They have a lot of guys in there to give plenty of time to allow this route to develop. It's going to take some time for Faison, and I love so much how Riley Leonard gets all of his weight behind it. That's a long throw from the far hash. It's accurately thrown, and it's a nice way to start the drive.
Faison, also a lacrosse player on the Notre Dame National Championship team, clutch in that sport as well. Love rocked by C.J. Allen. The inside linebacker, Marcus Freeman himself, former linebacker, was admiring the Georgia linebackers. Said he loves the violence with which they play, and that was an example of it there from C.J.
That's the perfect way to describe these Georgia linebackers too, especially C.J. Allen, who forced his way onto the field last year because of an injury and hasn't left. He's been terrific there, centering up the middle and being a physical presence.
Second and 8, a little bit of a crease that time for Jeremiah Love. Kristen Miller, Nazir Stackhouse, two members of the defensive front, held Love to a 5-yard gain. He averages nearly 7.5 per carry. Just 90 yards of offense for Notre Dame. Third down and 3 in a tie game with under 4 minutes to go in the first half. They're 0 for 3 on third down. Walker bowls his way toward Leonard, who ran out of room, and his pass deflected out of the air. Walker has shown speed, and that time he showed the powers. He came from the right end of their defensive line.
And this is so hard on Anthony Knapp, the true freshman, working against the best linebacker in the country. One-on-one, he gets that left arm up inside, tries to hang on for dear life. Riley Leonard recognizes it immediately, is flushed to the short side of the field where there's nobody home, and another nice third down stop for the Georgia Bulldogs.
James Rendell punts. Fair catch signaled by Anthony Evans and made. And Georgia will start from the 13. Only 3 points for each team, and to me, if you're a Georgia fan, you have to feel like Gunnar Stockton's actually played pretty well. It's not his fault that they have just the 3 points.
He's been great. I mean, he's been accurate. He's been decisive. Now, there have been a couple times where he's felt the rush. It's resulted in a couple sacks, but that wasn't on him. I think he's been everything you could possibly want. Now, can they continue to lean on this Notre Dame defensive front? Because as they continue to mount plays and the time of possession gap continues to widen, will this thinner, injury-plagued defensive front start to give in just a little bit against a big physical offensive line?
There's not a lot of depth on that very talented Notre Dame defense. They've been worn down by injuries. Al Golden said our defense keeps getting younger as the season goes along. They come after Stockton on first down, and his pass is incomplete. Trying to get it to Lawson Lucky. Part of a talented tight end group, but Don Schuler had the coverage.
The Georgia Bulldog faithful wanting a flag here on Schuler, but he does. You see, there's contact, but it looks like Schuler's trying to look back inside and play the ball. I think that's a good no call. Both guys were being physical with each other, but because they were both trying to play the ball, it results in no call.
Stockton 8 out of 11. He's thrown for 130. 67 of those were on one big play. He throws off his back foot and nowhere near lucky. But they had Brock Bowers last year, who's had a record-setting rookie season in the NFL for the Raiders, including here last weekend against the New Orleans Saints. But Al Golden said this group that they have, Kirby Smart at tight end, is really good. And there are 3 of them. Not like Al Golden said, I'm not sure we've seen a group that is deep and talented as this group this season.
Yeah, really good group all together. A very physical presence in Urasek, who's transferred from Stanford. Then you have Lucky, who's a great route runner, and a Delp who can do it all.
They combined for 60 catches on the year, more than Bowers had last year, though Brock's season reduced by injury. Nowhere to go for Stockton. Chased by Howard Cross. Al Golden said he needs to have a huge game. One of the veterans of that defense, particularly in the absence of Riley Mills. He needs to be a force in the middle.
He has been so good throughout the course of his career, and Riley Mills has always been that big guy that ate a ton of space inside and really gained a lot of attention, which allowed Howard Cross to get a ton of one-on-ones. Now he's going to have to create them himself and win his fair share.
Third punt for the new punter, the true freshman Drew Miller, and a good one. Fair catch made by Max Perleman. A 48-yard punt. Saturday on ESPN and ABC, we'll cap off the regular season with a special all-AFC North doubleheader with playoff implications. 4:30 Cleveland and Baltimore, at 8 Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Both games can also be seen on ESPN Plus and ESPN Deportes. Ravens can clinch the division with a win, tie, or a Pittsburgh loss. They've been the hot team lately while Pittsburgh has been scuffling. They can still win the division if they win and Baltimore loses. Cincinnati, we keep hearing, that's the team nobody wants to see make the playoffs unless you're a Bengal fan, because they will be dangerous if they get in with that offense. 3-3 game, approaching 3 minutes to go. Jordan Faison from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, said he knew nothing about lacrosse. Growing up, he was playing youth football. He had a buddy. His dad was a lacrosse fan. His buddy was playing youth lacrosse. He said, why don't you come over and just pick up a stick and throw the ball around? And his love of lacrosse was born, and now he stars in 2 sports.
He said the lacrosse season starts January 8th, and he's really hopeful that he's a few weeks late to getting prepped out there with his lacrosse stick.
Riley Leonard stepped into the throw. Good catch. Jaden Greathouse, the sophomore, just short of the first down. Molly.
Well, Sean, before their round 1 game, Irish coaches asked Jordan Faison to speak to the team about what it takes to win a title, and he stressed the focus and mental toughness needed to win on this stage. He draws confidence from that lacrosse title, telling us no moment feels too big for him. He's been here before. He understands the composure and focus that it takes to win it all, and he's preaching that to his teammates, guys.
Just got him within a yard of a first down. 3rd down and 1, just shy of midfield, and the 2-minute timeout is here.
This is a 2-minute timeout. Timeout on the field.
Tied at 3. The winner goes on to the college football playoff semifinal in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
We're back in New Orleans and coming your way on the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. I'll be joined by Tim Tebow, Jordan Rogers, Roman Harper, talking about what we've seen, this defensive battle in the first half and what we need to see from both of these teams in the second half. There are the guys over there, and of course, figure out exactly what needs to happen for Notre Dame. They get the ball first half.
Well, Tim would like these 2 quarterbacks, both dual threats, like he was. 3rd down and less than a yard for the Irish, just shy of midfield. With 2 minutes to go in the half. Riley Leonard using that 6'4" frame. And a tip of the cap to Laura Rutledge for the great reporting she's done here the last 2 days after the tragic events here. Well done, Laura. We're really proud of you. And it's great to note that this crowd looks like it's just about full. There was some speculation some people might not be able to stay for the game because it was pushed back an extra day. It is just about packed everywhere you look. 74,000. Leonard does that so well. When he can't find anything, he finds somewhere to run, and he runs for a first down to the 39-yard line.
This is one of the few times that Georgia's not been very responsible for the rush lanes, which allows Riley Leonard to just take off right up the middle. You see the Red Sea part, you take off and go get what you can get, and that's a first down.
Throwing back shoulder and incomplete. Well covered by Dalen Everett again on Bo Collins. The transfer from Clemson, who's their leading receiver for the year coming in. Well, lately, Faison's been the primary target.
I think in the second half, they're going to have to continue, if you're Notre Dame, to take some shots. This is an aggressive defense. They're getting up in the face of these wide receivers. They're going to have to threaten them vertically to soften them up a little bit.
Probably not quite in field goal range. Jeter has a strong leg. There's a completion to Mitchell Evans, dragged down near the line to gain by Smile Munden.
The AT&T connected cam shows you exactly where Mitchell Evans went down, and they gave him the first down. I think that's a good call.
29-yard line. 1 minute to go. 3 timeouts on each side and a big sack. Smile Munden. The first sack of the day for Georgia. And a timeout called by Notre Dame.
Notre Dame has called their first charge. Timeout. 30 seconds delay.
And this is a critical error right here. You got movement all the way across, and Smile Munden comes around Nias Williams, who blocks up inside on Allen. Leonard runs right into it. You cannot take a sack in that scenario. You're in field goal range. A sack knocks you out. You have to anticipate pressure from the opposing defense. Riley Leonard's played way too much football to make a mistake like that. Now, on 2nd and long, you got to get half of it back to get yourself back within striking distance of a field goal.
Smile Munden, senior, missed 4 games this year with a foot injury. He's been a big part of their successes in recent years. Georgia defense that hasn't put up the same kind of numbers, and many have asked, has there been a drop off? You know, Kirby Smart told us he thinks a lot of the stats on both sides of their football are a result of the fact they've played the toughest schedule in the country.
The schedule has a lot to do with it, but they also have had to deal with a lot of guys that have been in and out of the lineup from time to time. Smile Munden being one of them there, middle linebacker.
Second and 21. They've probably taken themselves out of field goal range of that sack. Riley Leonard heeding Greg's advice, just trying to get it back in field goal range, and he does with a 10-yard run to the 30-yard line.
Looked like somebody called timeout, or maybe they stopped it because the helmet came off.
Xavier McLeod's helmet came off for Georgia. The officials have stopped the clock for the moment as they confer about that.
They're going to potentially assess a 10-second runoff because the clock had to stop for the player to get out.
Due to the helmet coming off by the defense, the 10-second subtraction has been declined by Notre Dame. Clock will start on the snap.
Which is a break for Notre Dame, because it would have been a running clock. So they are able to preserve some time. Still 2 timeouts.
And now back to the original down and distance off 1st and 10. Anticipating pressure from Georgia, trying to knock you out of field goal range. So the answers from Riley Leonard is got to get it out quick and be decisive with where he goes with it.
Mitch Evans, the motion man. And a low throw for Nias Williams and an incomplete pass. Williams had his operation, or rather Leonard had his operation speeded up, and Williams could not make the catch. So here comes Jeter. He showed that he was healthier in the last game against Indiana, and we made a couple, including one from 49, which is his longest of the season. Made one from 44 today. This is from 48. A graduate student from Salisbury, North Carolina, outside Charlotte.
Georgia has called their first charge time out of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Mitch Jeter, graduate of South Carolina, got a degree in biological sciences. Said he might want to be a chiropractor like his dad, who's helped him get healthy for tonight. But now he's at Notre Dame studying business analytics. Jeter family here, nervous. with a concentration in sports analytics. He should be the one to tell Marcus Freeman when to go for it or when not to go for it. He's glad the coach opted for a field goal try here. Thanks for the healthy groin, Dad. Notre Dame leads 6-3 with 38 seconds to go in the half.
Perfect snap, perfect hold, right down the middle with excellent rotation. Marcus Freeman, you gotta love the story of a young man like Mitch Jeter, who throughout the course of his career had been so good at South Carolina, one of the top players in the portal, transfers to Notre Dame, gets hurt, and has persevered through that injury. And his family, looking on, has to be so proud, understanding everything that he went through to get back onto the field and successful.
And his health's important. You need to get in these playoff games. If you're in a close game, the field goal could easily be the difference. Well, there haven't been a lot of close games so far in the 7 previous games played in this college football playoff. 6 of them decided by double figures. The only single-digit win was Texas yesterday in the classic double overtime against Arizona State. Some other trends in that on-campus first round action. The home team won all 4. And in this quarterfinal round, the teams that had the bye, the 3 conference champions who've played so far, have all lost. Georgia hoping that's not a 4-for-4 sweep.
Well, normally, if Carson Beck was under center, you know that Georgia's going to go into overdrive here in a 2 minute to try to steal some points. Based on how Stockton's played in the first half, and I might get aggressive here. Great throw on the in-breaking route, moving the pocket, finding a hitch to the outside. Accurate throw, and then how about this beauty? To Arian Smith, one of the fastest receivers in the sport. Sees the matchup, sees squat coverage, perfectly thrown to the outside for a big gain. He's been very impressive in his first career start.
Actually a higher rated prospect coming out of high school than either Riley Leonard or Carson Beck. He got hit again. The ball's out. R.J. Oben knocked it out. And junior Tuialamaka has it for Notre Dame. Similar play on which Beck got hurt. Stockton winding up to throw and had his arm hit.
Wow. I mean, just massive as Oben working against the left tackle again. A position that has given them so much fits this season. Monroe Freeland can't get out of his stance. Oben goes right around him, strips it as Stockton is getting ready to release the ball. And a huge turn as Georgia tries to get aggressive to steal some points, and it could be detrimental, massively detrimental to the Bulldogs' chances.
Second takeaway for the Irish. They now lead the country all by themselves, moving out of that tie with Texas with 31 takeaways. 13-yard line. 33 seconds, 2 timeouts. Notre Dame with a chance to add to a 3-point lead. Play fake. Leonard to the end zone. Touchdown Irish. Bo Collins with the first touchdown of this game. And not only do they get takeaways, but they capitalize on them. Notre Dame came into today 141 points off turnovers this season, 35 more than any other team in the country. And Mitch Jeter adds the extra point. What a huge turn of events in the final seconds of this half.
Well, it's great job here by Mike Denbrock. He brings 2 tight ends in the ballgame, which is a heavy run emphasis personnel. Georgia knows that. Look at the effect that it has on the safeties, Dan Jackson and Malachi Starks. They both see the ball go into the belly of the running back, which forces one-on-one coverage to the outside. It's a well-thrown football and extremely strong hands shown by Bo Collins. That was a terrific Terrific throw and catch there for the Irish.
Capitalizing on the turnover. 10 points in the last 11 seconds. They have struggled to move the ball for much of the half. And Mike Denbrock. Amazing how it's changed. Early in the year, Leonard's confidence shot after that loss to Northern Illinois. Now he is playing with great confidence. Touchback off the foot of Mitch Jeter. There's the number we spoke of earlier. A huge part of their success. They take the ball away, and when they do, they score.
Just tremendous job there by the defensive front. Now that's the third sack. They've gotten home, forced a couple fumbles. They've hopped on one there to give their offense a chance, and the veteran group offensively pays it off with 7 points.
Trevor Etienne, the running back. And he's ripped down by Leonard Moore. And it doesn't look like either team is going to be compelled to stop the clock.
One saving grace as Carson Beck looks on for Georgia is that they've been in this situation before. They've trailed in 9 games this year. They have 7 comeback wins, which is the second most in the FBS. So they've done it before. Can they do it again?
Dumped off to Etienne. Out of bounds with a good game, but it's the last play of the half. A pickup of 12. Kirby Smart had Ernest Green in their left tackle near the end of the half, taking over for the starter Monroe Freeling. Irish fans celebrating their 10-point lead at the half. Despite just 135 yards of offense. Here's Laura Rutledge.
Thanks, Sean. Coach, how would you describe the way that this first half ended?
Well, I would say that we tried to be aggressive in 2 minutes and probably regret it, right? Go to the half 6-3. We want to show confidence in our quarterback and let him go play. We didn't get the block we needed to get. They made a good play.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Good luck.
Let's go to Molly McGrath with Marcus Freeman.
Coach, a takeaway and a touchdown to end the half. How do you build on this momentum?
Well, I mean, it's a great way to end the half. You know, we got to win the turnover margin, and we capitalize off of it on offense. But this is going to be a 60-plus minute game, and you watch this Georgia team all year, and you know they're not going to quit. So we got to be in attack mode and not feel comfortable with a 10-point lead. We got to be attack mode as soon as we come out of the locker room.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you,
Sean.
Did he just predict an overtime game? 60-plus minutes. At the half, Notre Dame 13, Georgia 3. The Mercedes-Benz halftime report comes your way after these messages.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz, and what a dominant performance, Jordan, by Ohio State against Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
Boy, it's been the Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith show, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Texas is going to have to find a way to cover number 2, because so far, nobody in the country can.
Finally, the best roster is playing like the best team.
No doubt about it. Look, just know where Jeremiah Smith is, please. Like, don't let him just run down the field on you.
That's easier said than done, Rome, okay? We've seen the defense of Notre Dame making it difficult for Gunnar Stockton in his first start. 13-3 Irish at the half. We'll be right back.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz.
This is the college football playoff quarterfinal at the All-State Sugar Bowl, Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. They're ready for the start of the second half. Notre Dame leading Georgia 13-3. It was a slow start for the Irish, and their offense spurred by the defense. A couple of takeaways key: Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. The good news, if you're a Georgia fan, is they've come from behind to win 7 times this year. Only Liberty with 8 did that more often, but they don't have Carson Beck. How do they do it?
They got to be able to run the football. And they've done a pretty good job at times, but I don't feel like they've been as committed to the run as they need to. They've put a lot on the shoulders of Gunnar Stockton, and you have to give credit to how he played early. But I do think the accuracy started to dwindle as the half went along. And then with Georgia, when it comes to Georgia's losses over the last several years, and their 6 losses since 2020, it almost always comes down to turnovers. They're minus 12 in turnover margin when they have lost games in the last 3 or 4 years. So they got to clean that up in the second half and give them better backside protection for a young quarterback.
Let's head down to the field and check in with our sideline reporter on the Notre Dame side, Molly McGrath.
Yes, John, Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman really warned his team against getting comfortable with this 10-point lead and preaching an attack mentality in this second half on both sides of the ball, but mostly defensively. He said he wants them to stop the run, continue to force takeaways, saying if they beat us throwing the ball, so be it. He stressed their edge rushers playing relentless, wants them to continue their intensity.
Jaden Harrison bringing back the kickoff. He brought 2 back for touchdowns last year when he played for the Thundering Herd of Marshall, and he has one for Notre Dame.
What a start for the Irish. Tremendous speed by Harrison. They brought him in thinking he'd be a deep threat. He makes Cash Jones miss. Really the only guy that had much of a chance beyond Peyton Woodring, who was going to have a very difficult time tackling the speedster on the sideline. And my goodness, what a play by the Fighting Irish.
Harrison hasn't done a lot as a receiver for Notre Dame, but a huge impact as a kick returner. He was the first team All-American kick returner last year. They had Marshall with those 2 kick return touchdowns, which tied for the national lead. Mitch Jeter, the extra point. Irish defense and special teams outstanding throughout this season and again today.
And Cash Jones, really, like I said, about the only guy that was able to get hands on Harrison. He's been working with a little bit of a banged up right ankle. They reported earlier that he has a bit of a shoulder issue. You have to wonder if those injuries factored in. His quarterback, Riley Leonard, has to love the way they've now started the second half of this football game.
Just shy of the longest kickoff return in Sugar Bowl history, which dates back to 1935, 91 editions. Albert DuBose, Florida against Louisville won 120-13. And now a lot of work for the Georgia Bulldogs and Gunnar Stockton to do. They had 2 double-digit comebacks during the regular season, including that 17-0 deficit against Georgia Tech. Game they wound up winning in 8 overtimes.
It'd be very important for the offensive coordinator Mike Bobo and their staff to kind of settle this offense down. Don't allow your young quarterback to get too aggressive against this great pass defense and this great pass rush. Got to take what the defense gives you. You're not going to be able to make up that deficit in one big throw downfield.
Mitch Jeter kicks off for Notre Dame. Yeah, they're going to try to return one. Anthony Evans, the third. Did not reach the 20.
Marcus Freeman. That's a bit of a unique reaction there as he struts it out. Gives a big hug. Jaden Harrison, what a great play.
He has such an ability to relate to players. He's a young man. He's 38 years old. He's the youngest head coach remaining in this college football playoff. There were actually 3 younger than him. They've all lost. Kenny Dillingham, Spencer Danielson, Dan Lanning. Arian Smith on the end around. Good play to get the half started for Georgia. Jack Kaiser tackled him after a 13-yard gain. Kaiser playing in his Notre Dame record 68th game he played against Herschel Walker here in 1981. Feels like
a redshirt freshman that year.
First year was 2020. One of the great students in college football. Graduated undergrad with a 3.8 and got a master's in accounting with a 3.98. ETN following the block of Xavier Truss and didn't go very far. Trevor got a couple.
I think this is something they need to continue to lean on. This is the screen game, and Truss out there, the right tackle. They've now moved him over to the left side. Kind of solidify things. Monroe Freeling giving up 2 early sacks and a few pressures, and Ernest Green struggling in there as well, who looks like he's now playing the right side, was the left tackle throughout most of the season. So changing up the front, but the screen game can slow down the aggressiveness of this Notre Dame defensive front.
On 2nd and 8, a long throw, single coverage, and an incomplete pass. Christian Gray had the coverage on Dylan Bell. Georgia partisans thought he got yanked down by Christian Gray.
And the right hand does have a hold of the jersey, it looks like. The throw kind of out to the outside, and Stockton wanting a penalty. I think had the throw been maybe a little bit more contestable, maybe Dylan Bell could have jumped and leaped for it. Maybe it would have gotten called, but it did look like Gray had his right hand full of red jersey.
Georgia 2 out of 7 on 3rd down, 0 for their last 4. Stockton, after that hot start, has cooled off. 10 out of 16 for 144. He completed his first 6.
Wow, big timeout now called by Kirby Smart. He said this is something you take for granted when you have a great quarterback like Carson Beck. He gets you out of a jam. They had to burn one here early, 17 points down in the second half.
CFP Foundation and ESPN continue to support teachers and coaches during the postseason. Touchdown for Teachers invests more than $300,000 in resources for teachers and coaches. Visit touchdownsforteachers.org for more information.
Big 3rd down here for the Georgia Bulldog offense. Had to use a timeout, so this one even more valuable than most. And the guy that's been quiet so far has been Cash Jones, number 32. He's the running back lined up to the right-hand side of Gunnar Stockton. They have yet to give him much of a look to get one here.
Does not have a touch. Stockton flushed, gets it to Cash Jones, but he's down well short of the line to gain, and Kirby Smart has a decision to make. Christian Gray stopped him, and Kirby's made the decision with almost the entire half to go. He's going to punt.
I think it's the right call, too. I mean, the defense has played pretty well. They had the short field. There have been a few turnovers. They gave up the big punt returns. The defense has done their part. I think this is the right call to punt it away. 4th and 1, maybe you could go for it, but not on 4th and 4.
Max Hurlman back for Drew Miller's punt. Late fair catch signal made. He managed to make the catch while avoiding Dominic Lovett, who's a great gunner, along with Arian Smith. Let's see how we got here with Inside the CFP, presented by Capital One. James Franklin trying to shed that can't win the big one label. won another big one in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl against Boise State. What a wild game yesterday in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. Texas wins in 2 overtimes despite an unbelievable performance by Cam Skattebo and the Devils. And Ohio State rolling, got off to a 34-0 lead. Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith were fantastic. Do they still want Ryan Day fired? First down, Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love stopped by Smile Munden down low. Dan Jackson up high. Notre Dame scored 17 points in a span of 25 seconds, dating back to the end of the first half, hoping that they'll take on Penn State in the Capital One Orange Bowl next Thursday night.
Marcus Freeman's offense going to continue to have to be aggressive. This is a great comeback team in Georgia. They need to continue to feature Jeremiah Love, but at some point they need to work him on the perimeter as opposed to up inside.
Leonard. And it's batted down by Nazir Stackhouse. Well, with the offense slumbering, Georgia could use a big play from its defense.
That was the play there, trying to get Jeremiah Love out on the outside with plenty of room. And now, here 3rd and 8. I love looking in the direction of my tight end. He's my favorite weapon in 3rd down and long. Mitchell Evans, he's lined up on the inside. I'd be looking if I could create some type of pick or natural rub for him against a safety.
Notre Dame's 1 for 6 on 3rd down. Haven't done much offensively themselves, just 137 total yards. But defense and special teams leading the way. The blitz forced a quick throw. It was Damon Wilson coming off the corner and got to Riley Leonard in a blur.
And they were trying to get it to Mitchell Evans, who's just going to sneak out here into the flat, but the pressure and the overload forces the ball out of Riley Leonard's hands really quickly. They tried to go with a bit of a screen. That's back-to-back plays now where the pressure forced the incompletion. And that's good aggressiveness shown by the Georgia defense.
Lucky it wasn't intercepted. He just kind of blindly threw it into a crowd with 3 Bulldogs nearby. It's been one of the biggest factors of this game. A +2 in the turnover margin for the Irish. Rendell Evans on the punt return. And Georgia will start at the 38, 45-yard punt and a 6-yard return. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl. We opened today, just about a half hour before kickoff. That was the scene of the mass murder and the act of terrorism here. Now about 38 hours ago, crime scene cleared. And business as usual in the French Quarter, although the memory of what has transpired will linger forever. Very sad episode, not just here in New Orleans, but for all of America. The game being played, you wouldn't know anything had happened a couple of early mornings ago. Festive atmosphere throughout. The building secure. Gunnar Stockton down by 17. Dylan Bell somehow wide open, and another drop ball. An absolute disaster for Georgia all season long, and a huge drop as big as any they've had all year long.
Wow. I mean, nobody in the country has dropped more passes than the Georgia Bulldogs. That is their 36th drop of the year. Arian Smith and Dominic Lovett have had the most. Dylan Bell has been more sure-handed, but that one right there is one you have to reel in for your young quarterback.
Their chance to get right back in the game, and Bell dropped it. A perfect throw by Stockton. He is on target to love it. He made a much harder catch than the one Bell would have had to make. With bodies on him, Xavier Watts was there, 19 yards, and the Dogs go quickly to the Notre Dame 44.
Now, I think when the passing game now starting to get going, if they can get it going, Dominic Lovett's going to have to come alive, and they also need to start featuring Oscar Delp. This is a man coverage-based defense. You got to find the guys that are best in creating separation against man, and those two guys are Delp and Dominic Lovett.
Delp's end of the line to the left. Cash Jones went in motion. Trevor Etienne to the 41-yard line, a gain of 3.
You're Kirby Smart. You're probably also telling Mike Bobo this part of the field, hey, you got 4 downs to get it. So it's 2nd down, now 7 to go. You got 3 more downs to get it. So if you want to take a shot here, see if you can't steal one, no problem. You still got 2 downs to get it on 3rd and 7 and 4th and whatever. So don't have to be super aggressive, but I don't hate it if you try one deep at some point in this sequence.
Stockton under duress, did well to get it off. Nate Frazier, first down Georgia. To the 31-yard line, Jalen Snead came on a blitz, and Stockton dealt with that very well, 9 yards.
And that was a terrific play by Gunnar Stockton. That was next level, and that's what Mike Bobo wanted to see from him, reacting. They brought pressure. They tried to call a blitz. They tried to call a blitz beater. It didn't work out. He got rid of it before he was sacked, and it turned into a positive play.
They say no one does more film study than Stockton, even though he was the backup. He was constantly in the film room, watching a lot of film of offensive linemen, in fact. He throws wide open. Cash Jones has it and has a touchdown. 32 yards for number 32.
And they know that Gunnar Stockton can run, so the eyes of the linebacker are inside. What he forgets to do is cover Cash Jones, who's on a wheel route. Bowen should have been with him. He wasn't. As a result, it's a wide open touchdown for Cash Jones, who's been quiet. We had asked for him to get involved. He finally does, and now he finds the end zone to give this Georgia fan some life.
So they overcome the big drop by Dylan Bell and score on the drive. Peyton Woodring makes it a 10-point game. Cash Jones, a walk-on redshirt junior from Brock, Texas. He has become a huge part of this Georgia team. And first touchdown pass of this season for Gunnar Stockton. Cash Jones, the touchdown, trying to help Georgia make it 8 comeback wins this season. Notre Dame's won 27 in a row when leading at the half. They haven't lost since Ohio State. That was in 2022. Crushing last-second loss in South Bend for the Irish before Riley Leonard got there. Well, it felt like the Bulldogs had to have that, and they got it. Jaden Harrison back deep for the kickoff. His 98-yard touchdown to open the half, the longest postseason kickoff return in Notre Dame history. Won't try it this time. Our next ESPN NBA doubleheader is Wednesday, January 8th. 7 o'clock, Oklahoma City and Cleveland. And at 9:30, San Antonio, Milwaukee. NBA Countdown tips off the coverage at 6:30. Georgia fans fully engaged now. And a long way to go. 9:36 to go, third quarter. Four-man rush. Riley Leonard forced to pull it down and take off. Turns it into a gain. Lost the ball as he crossed the boundary. Chased by Damon Wilson.
one thing's going to be important for Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator, is continue to feature the running backs. You want to talk about be aggressive. You want to make sure that they don't let Georgia get back in the game, but don't forget your best weapons. Jadarian Price, who's in the game right now, give him some looks, even in the passing game out on the perimeter if you can.
For the year, they average more rushing yards per game than they do passing. Leonard again trying to turn nothing into something. Dove ahead for 2 more. Damon Wilson there again. And they're always balanced. Notre Dame prior to that play had run 42 plays, 21 each rushing and passing. In the previous 8 games, they had at least 150 yards rushing and passing. They strive for balance.
You have some soft coverage here in the slot. Malachi Stark stays that deep. That'd be the direction I'm looking.
3rd down and 5. Georgia trying to continue its momentum with a big stop. Leonard finds Mitch Evans. 1st down. Out to the 41-yard line for Evans, senior from Wadsworth, Ohio.
And a great job by Evans, just such a veteran, has great feel for zone coverage. He sees a red jersey outside, he sees a red jersey inside, so what do? You just turn, get big for your quarterback, and give him plenty of space. That was well designed and good throw and catch.
Battled injuries throughout his career, but he's one of the best tight ends in the country. Divided loyalty in his family. His sister Casey Evans was a volleyball star at Georgia. She's 2 years older than Mitchell. Outside, Jadarian Price, a flag thrown by the back judge. That official threw the flag about 20 yards back toward the line of scrimmage. The back judge, Daniel Young, might bring back a 20-yard run.
Holding number 1. Offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Jaden Greathouse.
And this is tough on Greathouse because this ball is designed to hit up inside. Price bounces it all the way back to the outside, and he has to hold the block forever, no pun intended. He's engaged with Janelle Aguero right there, and as Price gets to the outside, he grabs him with the left hand, slowing down Aguero just enough for the back judge to call it. That's a great call by the official and a tough ask on Greathouse.
Clearly a hold. Comes from the spot of the foul. The officials are trying to figure out where to mark it.
Those are kind of the runs on the perimeter, though, that I want to see Notre Dame get to. I mean, they have so much speed at the running back position. I mean, Jeremiah Love averages 14 yards a carry outside the tackle. You need to give them more looks on the edges because that's where Georgia's been vulnerable in the past.
Ball back to the 36. 1st and 15, more than midway through the 3rd quarter now. With Chambliss in his face, Leonard got it off to Jeremiah Love. Dalen Everett there to drop it for a short gain of 2.
And that's fine. I mean, that's no different than handing him to him on a wide hitting run. You get him out in the flat, he has 1 defender to beat, he doesn't beat him. So take that chance, every chance you can get, and now to make 3rd down more manageable, see if you can't get half of it back.
Here comes a blitz. Leonard forced to throw it, and it fell well short of Greathouse with Jonel Aguero in coverage, the sophomore defensive back from Lynn, Massachusetts.
And you're seeing a ton of slide protection right now from Notre Dame, which is, I think, ridiculous. You shouldn't do that. You're taking Rocco Spindler, your right guard. You're abandoning the best pass rusher and making your running back, Jeremiah Love, block the best linebacker in the country. You can't do that. They need to be more sound in protection and not allow mismatches in the pass rush.
Third down and 13. Four-man rush and twisting up front. Faison has some running to do. Lunges and got very close to the line to gain. About a yard short, and Marcus Freeman has a decision to make, and it looks like he's going to leave the offense on the field on 4th down and 1. And he'll have time to think about it. There's an injured Bulldog. It's Michael Williams, who missed a lot of time this season with an ankle injury suffered in their opening rout of Clemson. They led moments ago by 17. And now a huge play for the Irish. 4th and 1 from midfield. They're going to go for it. They've been an excellent 4th down team all year.
And on 4th down, they've been one of the best in the country in conversion rate, like you referenced, 5th in the FBS. But the guy they lean on short yardage is Riley Leonard. They have 6 for 6 on 4th and 1 conversions. 5 of those 6 were carries by their quarterback.
Question would be, can they move that big defensive line for Georgia, which crowds the middle, thinking that Leonard's going to take off running. He does, and they hit him behind the line. He lunged toward the line, and it's going to be very close. C.J. Allen, the initial hit. Leonard managed to get off that, or they were doomed. And it looks like the Irish got a very good spot. Dan Jackson convinced it wasn't good enough for Notre Dame.
It was a great play initially by Nas Stackhouse, who shot right through the gap, in a terrific effort by Riley Leonard. But where is the ball? Looks like he's lunging forward. Where is he down and where is the ball? It's so difficult to tell from that angle.
Anxiety on all sides. Short by about 6 inches. You mentioned it. They use Riley Leonard all the time. That's a big ask against this bunch to run up the middle when they were crowding the middle. When he took the snap so far behind the line of scrimmage. And you better win the line of scrimmage with your offensive line, and they didn't.
And they completely whipped on number 78, Nazir Stackhouse. I mean, he was in the backfield, which slowed Riley Leonard's momentum and never really had a chance to hit it at full speed. If he hits it at full speed, who knows? Maybe the momentum carries him past the line to gain, but number 78 was in the backfield before you know it because of a bust up front by the offensive line.
So great field position for Georgia after scoring on the touchdown pass to a wide open Cash Jones on their last possession. Stockton handed it off, carried out his fake. Trevor Etienne got across midfield. Gain of about 1.5 yards. The difference maker when he's healthy. He missed 3 games at the end of the regular season prior to their championship game win in the SEC against Texas, for which he returned. Kirby Smart has said he's their best offensive player when he's healthy. Hasn't done a lot today. 11 carries for 38 yards. The Notre Dame blitz picked up. Stockton runs past it. Gets banged down by Adon Schuler. Stockton doesn't mind the contact. We saw that in that game against Texas when he welcomed collisions with the Texas Longhorns. Got the sideline going early in the second half when he took a hit near the Georgia side. Of course, got his helmet knocked off on the play that set up the winning touchdown in the second overtime.
And possible 4-down territory here if they want to go with quarterback run.
Cash Jones. Usually when he's involved on 3rd down, it's in the passing game. Tried to surprise Al Golden's defense with a run. And Kirby is going to go for it here on 4th down and 2.
4th and 2 has been a go distance for them many times in plus territory. And the guy that they've usually featured in a situation like this is Dominic Lovett. He's going to be at the point, it looks like right now. He's number 6. He's their go-to guy on 3rd and short, and see if they can find a matchup for him in a stack formation.
They've also been excellent this year on 4th down. A flinch by the left guard, Dylan Fairchild. Let's see if that changes the decision.
Start, number 53, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Huge mistake. The 2nd-team All-American, one of the best guards in the country, Fairchild.
And he just knows it looks like they're going to go with some type of sprint right movement. He tries to get an early start on it, knows it immediately as both hands nearly go into the surrender cobra. Just a big mistake because I think they had a pretty good look to pick up that 4th down and short.
Number 11 for Georgia's checked in wearing 14.
And here's Drew Miller. Has handled himself well in his first college game for the injured Brett Thornton. Movement again on both sides. It looked like Notre Dame was moving first, and then there was a flinch on the Georgia side. Jack Kaiser seemed to start across the line, and that drew the response from Chris Cole.
Play a game. Defense number 24. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Wow. And that could have been some type of a discerning signal or something where they say something that would kind of falsify a snap count. And now Kirby's going to bring his offense back on the field to try this 4th and short again.
Down to short 2, so they get another crack at it. Each team has committed a penalty. The delay of game, disconcerting signals against Notre Dame. Notre Dame could not convert on 4th down and 1 a moment ago. Now it's 4th and 2.
Watch Lovett in the flat.
Georgia trying to convert. Pressure up the middle. Stockton got it off a low throw. And it is caught, but short of the 1st down. Dylan Bell made the catch. Al Golden brought the heat. Drake Bowen is big linebacker. Forced Stockton to get rid of it.
And this is a great job. He's going to bide inside, and Bowen is going to go right up the middle. Watch this. The right tackle, Green, who normally plays left, a little confused because he's sliding out to Xavier Watts, thinking he has to protect him, which allows Bowen to come right on the inside and force the throw to be not just low, but off target as well. Just a great stand there by the Irish defense and pressure called by Al Golden.
And nothing new from the former head coach at Temple and Miami. And one of the 5 finalists for the Broyles Award this year is the best assistant coach in the country. So each team with a 4th down stop. Riley Leonard a little slow to get started. It turns the corner for about 6.
It's not super uncommon to see Riley Leonard have 10 carries in a ball game, but it is a little uncommon to see him have 10 carries this early as Jeremiah Love slow to get up, and that's potentially massive for Notre Dame.
Timeout for an injured player at 2:55 on the play clock, game clock, 2:55.
That's Jeremiah Love, one of the best running backs in the country.
He kind of gets caught up inside. There's a lot of jerseys and guys falling on top of each other. It looks like he just got caught up in a little bit of the wash, walking off favoring that right side, and that was the side, Sean, that had been problematic, that right knee, for quite some time.
They injured it against USC, had to leave that game in the 3rd quarter. Jonell Aguero's also limping around near the Georgia sideline.
I saw that. If I'm Mike Denbrock and they're nickel and they're going to take him off, I was going to say, if he's showing any type of favoring to one side or the other, I would probably attack him with Faison, my slot receiver. But they'll make the substitution, which I think is wise.
They haven't been able to get their 2 running backs going, Coach Denbrock. The offense has just 178 yards. Love just 6 carries for 19 yards. But they lead by 10, and the clock running toward the end of the third quarter. Leonard decided not to force it to Chris Mitchell. Slides down after he got the first down. Five-yard gain. And the decision making that they talk about has gotten better as the year's gone along. He could have thrown that into a crowd, risked a turnover, thought better of it. And given the situation, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's just maturity on display in one play right there, Sean. That would have been a massive blow-up, potentially tipped and intercepted if he would have thrown it. Decides against it, gets what he can. That just happens to be a first down.
Jadarian Price tried to go inside, nothing there, so he bounced it outside and came up about 2 yards short of the marker. KJ Bolden there to finish the play for Georgia, but it's 8 yards on the run for the junior from Denison, Texas.
And Georgia always seemingly just wants to collapse. Everything gets squeezed into the middle. So what do? You have to invite that rush into the middle and then bounce it to the outside. That's what Price does right there, and they find some positive yardage. Now second short, I'd take a shot.
Price. Whoa. A head slap delivered to Daniel Harris at the end of the run. I like that idea if you're Notre Dame. You know, you're concerned coming in with could you block the big front, get the first down and keep on moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fine with that.
Take the shot.
Especially after you got stopped on 4th and 1 just a moment ago, and Price, one of the best backs in the country, the best back in the country in yards after contact per carry, showing a little bit of a stiff arm there en route to another nice gain on the outside.
I worked for the late great Hall of Fame coach Dick McPherson at Syracuse. He used to run it all the time on 2nd and 1. People say it's a 3 down. So they asked him, why do you do that? He said, because I like first down.
You don't like 3rd and 1s, coach?
Notre Dame liking this first down. Jordan Faison taken down by Malachi Starks. Playing in his 42nd straight game and hoping it's not his last for Georgia.
And you're starting to see now, look how many times now in this drive alone where Notre Dame has found some yardage to the outside the tackles. Georgia has a tendency to get a little more aggressive as the game goes along, taking everything away up the middle, so you bounce it to the outside and find some room.
Surprised Notre Dame's even lining up. Why snap it? They won't. It's the end of the third quarter. The winner goes on to the college football playoff semifinal. Cash Jones got him back into the game within 10 after Harrison's kickoff return. Touched off a celebration on the sideline.
Coach, you've had 7 comeback wins this season. How do you get another one here?
Well, you convert 4th and 2. That's the first thing you can do. They gave us a gift and gave us an opportunity to go for it. We didn't capitalize on it. We had a big stop on them. But right now they're driving the ball on us, doing a good job. We got to get some momentum back. We got to get a stop on defense. Turnover.
All right, thank you, Kermit.
Thank you.
Sean.
Yeah, they've been turning it over and not taking it away. 2 turnovers today, 20 for the season, the most for Georgia since 2013. They've hurt. The defense has played really well. Held Notre Dame to 203 yards through 3 quarters. With special teams and defense carrying the Irish to a 10-point lead. And they're in scoring position inside the 30 as the fourth quarter begins. 2nd and 4 at the Georgia 27. Leonard pump fakes. And way too far for Jaden Harrison with Malachi Starks in coverage.
Be an interesting down and a call here for Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator. Quarterback run has been something they've used in 3rd and medium or so in plus territory, because you remember, cannot take a sack here and potentially get knocked out of field goal range. A quarterback run might be your friend if you have favorable look in the box defensively.
Leonard's their leading rusher by far with 65 yards on the ground. Throws it in the flat to Aeneas Williams, who's stopped 2 yards short of the first down by KJ Bolden. And now a decision upcoming for Marcus Freeman.
You have to think he's going to go for it. I mean, just a moment ago, he went for it from about 4th and this much around midfield. So got to be thinking the same thing as well for Marcus Freeman.
I think because a field goal is still a 2-score game. If you can finish this drive with a touchdown, it's a 3-score game. Wants to try to put it away on this possession.
I would anticipate quarterback run again. That's been the tendency all season long. Can Riley Leonard get it with his legs?
If that's the play, can they block it for him? They roll him out this time. There's a flag down. Leonard throws. Faison the catch. But there is a flag down. Back of the line of scrimmage. It stands. It's a first down for Notre Dame at the 16-yard line. Line judge Keith Garmon threw the flag.
Illegal shift. Number 6 offense. Never got set. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Faison's penalty wipes out his own reception.
Man, that's tough because it was tight end on the outside and he wasn't set for long enough before the motion could begin. He's got to hold up just a second before he brings Faison down in motion to allow the tight end to set, for him to move. It's a good call by the official. They were both moving at the same time.
Mitch Jeter, 2 for 2 to make it a 13-point game. And it's good from 47. From 48-44, now 47. And the Jeter family celebration continues.
Looks like a good snap. Good hold. Ball drifting just ever so slightly to the left, but it stays inside the upright for his 3rd field goal of the game.
Another up and down year it's been for Jeter. Battling that groin injury. Saw his dad Andrew, the chiropractor, help get him in shape for this postseason. But it's huge for Georgia that they held it to a field goal and kept it a 2-score game. And almost all of the 4th quarter still to go.
And that's a play to be mindful of, too, because they had the first down to Faison, and it was a self-inflicted mistake for Notre Dame, and a veteran quarterback that brought the motion too soon. That is one that you just don't anticipate seeing from a guy that started this many games like Riley Leonard has.
That's a big call. And we're going to get Matt Austin's opinion on it in a moment. Jeter to kick off first. In the direction of Anthony Evans. He won't try it. So, Matt, you wanted to weigh in on that huge penalty called against Faison.
Yeah, he called it on the wide out at the bottom of the formation. He's definitely in the backfield. He just goes in motion. He doesn't have to stop. I don't understand the illegal shift call there at all.
I think part of the problem, Matt, is that the tight end, number 88, was shifting up and getting on the line of scrimmage, wasn't set for a second before he brought the motion. So therefore, both motions were simultaneous, which led to the penalty. And that, I think, is a big mistake and an easy mistake to correct.
Well, that's incorrect. If only one player shifts, all he has to do is come to a complete stop. Does not have to be set for a full second before another man goes in motion.
Well, it's a big call. Stockton, another laser, and a good catch by Dylan Bell, who fights for the first down for Georgia. An 11-yard gain. I'm not going to get in the middle of your discussion. I would just say this. It did seem a little nitpicky and like something you might see several times during a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think on a quarterback, I've been told, hey, don't leave it into the eyes of the official, right? Make sure everyone's 100% set before you start the motion. So err on the side of caution if you're the quarterback.
Looked like they might flip it to Arian Smith. Instead, Nate Frazier kept it. And he's down to the Notre Dame 36-yard line. For Georgia, they're on the move again.
And the muddle huddle creates a lot of confusion with 4 guys outside the left tackle in the bottom misdirection, which gives Frazier tons of room to create some yardage.
Stockton in the flat to Frazier, lowers his head and runs over big Drake Bowen. 8 more.
I like using tempo here if I'm Mike Boga, the offensive coordinator. Good rhythm within the offensive drive.
Frazier lunges for the first down. Notre Dame's had a couple of chances to make it much easier on themselves here in the second half. Stopped on a 4th down run by Riley Leonard at midfield. The penalty wiping out a first down conversion. And forced a field goal try made by Jeter. And now Georgia trying to capitalize. With just under 12 minutes to go. Gunnar Stockton, quick pop and broken up. Nicely played by Christian Gray. Here's Molly.
Sean, one thing to keep an eye on, Notre Dame's defensive leader Xavier Watts is in their injury tent right now being evaluated for right shoulder injury. I'll let you know once I have more.
So Rod Hurd is in. There's Watts right on cue emerging.
Keep an eye on that. And with him on the sideline, he's got such great range. And seeing how aggressive Christian Gray played a moment ago on that slant, I'd go with the slant and go to the top and take advantage on a double move.
Delp in trouble behind the line of scrimmage and belted down at the 29. Tuihalamaka slowed it down, and then Drake Bowen came over to finish off Oscar Delp. And here comes Watts back in. Mass substitutions for Al Golden.
This will be interesting from Al Golden. Right on the fringe of field goal range. Does he opt to bring pressure? They've been able to create a consistent pass rush all game long against the left tackle. So does he bring pressure? Does he just let Viliamu Asa go one-on-one?
He's number 27, true freshman with a lot of pass rush ability. Stockton hit as he throws, and the ball's on the ground and ruled incomplete. Dylan Bell didn't hang on. It's 4th and 13, and the offense is still on the field. The field goal, you're still down by 2 scores, but this will be a hard 4th and 13 to pick up. And a good play by Leonard Moore, the freshman, to break it up. This could well be the ball game for Georgia. 4-man rush, some twisting inside. Stockton got hit, and it's a flag. Lawson Lucky, the intended receiver. The linebacker Jack Kaiser running in coverage with the tight end. Yesterday, Texas converted a 4th and 13.
Pass interference, number 24. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic.
That it had to have, and now Georgia's done it with a help from another Irish penalty.
And that's a good call by the official. I know the Irish fans hate it, but Jack Kaiser never turns around and tries to play the football.
He's also wrapping him up before the ball gets there.
Tackling him on arrival is also part of the problem. Kirby Smart knows that he got bailed out by a defensive pass interference on a 4th and long. That's a big mistake by the veteran linebacker.
9 penalties against the Irish. They don't ordinarily hurt themselves. Well above their season average in penalty yardage per game. And now a whistle. And I believe Marcus Freeman wants a timeout. No explanation from the officials what this is about. They're still talking about it. We'll sort it out for you when we come back. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. While we were away, they respotted the ball. That's the reason for the stoppage. And there is no timeout called. The winner of this game will advance to play Penn State in the Capital One Orange Bowl in one of the semifinals. The first a week from tonight. The others in the Cotton Bowl Classic, presented by Goodyear, Ohio State, and Texas. They moved the ball 2 yards closer to the end zone. They originally spotted it on the 16-yard line, shorter than they should have for the penalty walk-off. They're on the 14. Back shoulder throw broken up. Christian Gray. Nitro Tuggle, who's caught only 3 balls all year, and it's interesting that he's here. He entered the transfer portal and wasn't going to play in this game, and then changed his mind. That's today's college football.
Welcome to 2025.
Why wouldn't you want to play in this? Stockton after the fake to Frazier. Gunner down at the 10-yard line, just shy of it. Junior Tuihalamaka, another tackle, 3 yards. 3rd down and 7 with 10.5 to go on the clock, running in the 4th quarter. There's an injured Notre Dame player. It's Howard Cross, their standout defensive tackle. There could well be some cramping here this evening. It is very warm inside the Caesars Superdome. Back and getting ready for a big Georgia 3rd down. They're down 23-10. Neither team has excelled on 3rd down. Each 2 for 10. 17 points in a span of 54 seconds for Notre Dame. And that was actually a 25-second span in which they had the ball, included obviously some time Georgia had the ball. Cross limps off. They're already playing without his fellow outstanding defensive tackle Riley Mills. So 2 subs in the middle, Donovan Heinisch and Gabriel Rubio on defense for Notre Dame.
Keep an eye on Cash Jones here with the condensed formation. He's in the backfield. He's been really good catching the ball out of it when his splits get tight.
Georgia down by 13. Clock running. Stockton gesturing. Immediate blitz. Tuihalamaka took a bad angle. Gunner Stockton lowers his head and gets belted down by Adon Schuler. Gabriel Rubio, one of those backup defensive tackles, in there as well. You know, we saw the gesturing. One of the things Kirby Smart said, he was concerned about Stockton. He's not used to managing the line of scrimmage, where Carson Beck has seen every possible situation. And it was a little frantic for a moment there.
It was, and he was trying to get Cash Jones working at one-on-one, but it was really well defended, and he's been very reliable throughout the course of his career. But here on a gotta-have-it situation, season on the line, to me it's number 6, Dominic Lovett.
In the bunch to the right. 4th down and 5. Pressure from Notre Dame, and that pass is incomplete. Bodies tangling, no flag. Lawson Lucky the target, and Rod Hurd, the transfer from Northwestern, had the coverage.
And it looked like Lucky had a matchup he wanted, but the throw's too high, and Lucky just never really is able to get his feet underneath himself to leap and take advantage of that height advantage. As we look at it from the AT&T connected cam, he's just falling backwards the whole way, has nothing underneath him to go up and try to make a leaping grab. Marcus Freeman looks on and celebrates the off-the-target pass.
So big 4th down stops on both sides. And the Dogs still down by 13 with under 9.5 to go. Georgia 0 for 2 on 4th down now, and Notre Dame had that 0 for 1 when Riley Leonard was stuffed at midfield. Irish from their own 9. Darian Price, the running back. And he gets the handoff. Tough run. He's across the 13. Molly?
Well, Sean, you saw running back Jeremiah Love limping on the sideline, favoring his right knee. He tried cutting side to side, was in visible discomfort. So they put a hard brace on that right knee. You can tell he's still bothered by the injury, but he's doing everything he can to return. I'm told he will try to go, and he told us he does not need to be 100% to be effective, guys.
Showed that last week when he had the flu. Had a 98-yard touchdown run. One of the fastest running backs in the country. Price is a pretty good number 2. He's across the 15. Talked to Jeremiah Love about that touchdown run against Indiana from his own 2-yard line. He said, I knew as soon as I turned the corner I was going the distance because nobody is going to catch me. Not just Indiana. Once he's in the clear against anybody, he's going the distance. And he did. 100-meter high school state champion in Missouri. They're bleeding the clock as much as they can. Aeneas Williams, the running back. Leonard for Williams in trouble. Survived one hit, and he might have the first down. Kirby Smart complaining and trying to influence the spot. Dan Jackson, who's a big hitter, put a hit on Williams but didn't make the tackle. Kalen Everett did. Kirby Smart doesn't like the spot.
Right there, that right foot is out of bounds, but where is the ball? That's the tough part, is he is out of bounds for sure, but is the ball already crossed the line to gain? It's so difficult to tell from those first couple looks. And the AT&T connected cam might give us a great shot of it. Where is the ball? Where is the ball? It's out right there. And it does look like it's going to be about a half-yard short.
If that marker is fully accurate, that's on the ground there. Well, it's right in front of Kirby Smart. He immediately complained to the official about the spot. And this is an enormous decision in the replay booth for Brad Van Vark.
Great effort by Aeneas Williams, trying to do whatever he can to will his body across the line to gain, but the sideline is the 12th defender, and the Georgia defenders knew that, forcing him out of bounds, which appears to be just short of the line to gain.
This is an enormous replay review. And Michael Vandervelde, he's seen enough.
After review, the runner steps out short of the line to gain at the 18.5-yard line. It'll be 4th down.
This will be interesting. I don't think you'd go for it here.
I wouldn't think so.
Half-yard short, up a couple scores, and about half a quarter to play with how your defense has performed most of the night.
Yeah, especially given the quarterback situation for Georgia and their inability to run the ball. They have 69 yards rushing all day. And that's been a problem most of the year. They average 128 rush yards per game, just 36 in the country. Here's one of those Notre Dame special team situations. They're so creative. They substitute, so Kirby Smart knows he has to be allowed to substitute. The officials stand in there. Leonard and the offense back out there. Will they really snap this and go for it with nearly 2 yards to go? Play clock at 3. And now movement by Georgia, it seemed. There is a flag. Leonard throws it deep. Diving attempt by Bo Collins. But the creativity again for Marcus Freeman and his special teams operation may have resulted in a first down again. And give Georgia credit. Kirby Smart.
Offside, number 11. Defense jumped into the neutral zone.
Wow.
5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That right there is all head coaching. I mean, that is all on Marcus Freeman being creative. They get all the defenders on there, and they are in such chaos trying to get lined up, anticipating quarterback run. They don't think about the fact that the snap count could be a half-second delay, which allows Jalen Walker to lean over into the neutral zone, resulting in a free play and a first down for the Irish. That's all on Marcus Freeman. That's great, great execution.
And it wasn't like they were scrambling to line up. I was starting to say, give Georgia credit. They responded as they should. The offense came out for Notre Dame. Kirby and his staff knew they had time to get the defense out. They did. They were set and ready to go, and then they flinched.
And that's just, and great coaches do this, whether it's a surprise onside kick or a fake punt, or you steal a possession. Right now, you have a new lease on life because you, as a head coach, just made a critical decision to go and steal a possession. Just tremendous kudos to the third-year head coach of the Irish.
We saw him do it in round one against Indiana. And they went to a strange formation with the field goal unit on the field and forced Indiana to use a timeout. Jadarian Price, the ball carrier. We talked to Kirk Cignetti, the IU coach, before that game. It's one of the first things he said. He admired how creative they are in special team, the way they block kicks. And it's Marcus Freeman and it's also Marty Biaggi. Of course, in that instance, they ran the offense back out. Do you think they would have snapped the ball if Leonard wasn't aware that Georgia jumped across and he probably had a free play?
No, I don't think they would have snapped the ball. I think they would have called timeout, but because Jalen Walker dipped into the neutral zone, the center, Pat Coogan, immediately knew to snap the ball, and it resulted in the conversion.
Leonard on 3rd down and 7. Georgia needs a stop. He hurdles Malachi Starks and has a first down.
And this is a great job. You have pullers all across the front, but it's really about Riley Leonard and his speed getting to the edge. There's really not a whole lot that he can do. He has to race this outstanding defense to the sideline, but there is the All-American Malachi Starks waiting in his way. Riley Leonard does not care, goes up and over and converts an incredible 3rd down from the AT&T Connected Cam.
Channeling Jeremiah Love, who 5 times this year has hurdled defenders. Aeneas Williams, the clock goes under 5 minutes to go now. What a competitor Riley Leonard is. When you talk to his teammates and coaches, that's the first word they use. Mentioned he wasn't highly recruited as a quarterback. He was a basketball prospect who had many Division I scholarship offers in hoop before he got his first from Duke in football. This is the All-State Sugar Bowl. So the Georgia penalty and Notre Dame changed personnel came with 7:17 remaining. The clock now under 5 minutes to go. 2nd down and 8 for the Irish with Jadarian Price, the running back. Winner goes to the semifinal to take on Penn State. Jaden Thomas, the wide receiver, took the handoff. He's about a half yard short of the first down with a 7-yard pickup. The senior is a Georgia native.
Big touchdown in the game against Indiana. You're 3rd and short. You got to think Riley Leonard if you're Kirby Smart, right? I mean, you know this quarterback is dynamic with the ball in his hands. Just converted a 3rd down a moment ago. You're Mike Denbrock. I'm not sure you could justify giving it to anyone other than big number 13.
No,
there.
Why would you? He's been the man. Just about a must-stop situation. They have just 1 timeout left, Georgia. Riley Leonard. First down, Notre Dame.
And they had some leakage earlier on some of these interiors. They know what's coming. It's Riley Leonard right up the middle, but this time it's so much more secure by the Notre Dame offensive line. They didn't allow Nas Stackhouse or one of these great defensive tackles to slip inside and create a free rush. Marcus Freeman knows all about the power of that front, and it leads to a big first down.
It's an offensive line that has gotten better as the year's gone along. They had to replace 2 high draft pick tackles from a year ago. That was Pat Coogan, the center, and Billy Shrouth, the left guard, leading the way. Jadarian Price, the ball carrier. When will Kirby use his last time out? It'll be right now.
The only chance you have at this point, if you're Georgia, you have to create a turnover. So whatever it takes, you're going to rip at the football as hard as humanly possible. And Kirby needs to remind his guys of that. No matter what, you punch at that football as many times as you can before you get that ball carried to the ground. You have one guy hold him up, the other guy punch it out, and see what they can do with it.
.325 to go. Georgia had won 52 games in a row against teams not named Alabama. So they lost to that Ole Miss team late in the regular season. Now they're looking at consecutive losses to teams not named Alabama. Texas and Ohio State set in one semifinal. The winner of this one will play Penn State. And Notre Dame 325 away, barring a major turnaround. Leonard's going to go under center. Ooh, a little trickery. Faison. It works. Looked like it was going nowhere. He weaved his way for a first down. There is a flag down. Back at the 50-yard line.
I think they might get an illegal formation. Didn't look like they had enough guys on the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation. More than 4 players lined up in the backfield. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, when you're done with this, you might take Matt Austin's place for Bill LeMonnier.
There's one thing I can do 2 things on the football field. 1, make sure we're lined up properly, and 2, hand it off. Those are the 2 things I know I can do, having played in the college level. And that time, I knew that tight end wasn't up on the line of scrimmage. So a good call and a big mistake there.
Very unusual for the Irish, as I said earlier, to hurt themselves with penalties. 10 for 78 yards. A lot of them have been really costly. That one wiped out a huge first down that would have allowed them to take the clock way down toward the end. Aeneas Williams now on 2nd and 13. Malachi Starks wrestles him down after Warren Brinson could not. Well, the clock will run under 3 minutes to go.
If you're Riley Leonard, no chance you snap this ball with anything more than 1 second remaining on the play clock. He's played a ton of football. It's been a tremendous 6.5-minute drive to extinguish almost all hope for the Georgia Bulldogs. So don't give them any by snapping it and getting them a couple free seconds.
Mom Heather watching. Play clock down to 2. He keeps it himself. Chaz Chambliss, the tackle, that'll take it to the 2-minute stoppage.
You got to know, a 2-minute stoppage will give Notre Dame plenty of time to make sure that Marcus Freeman's special teams group is prepared for an all-out block scenario, because they're going to be coming after it here on the other side.
He's starting to smile. He knows there's still work to do, but he can feel it. It's a well-coached team, and that's been on display again this afternoon. Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, Molly McGrath, and Laura Rutledge back here at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Notre Dame hoping to dance an Irish jig when this game is over in celebration of a trip to the Conference Football Playoff semifinal. They're going to punt. Well, they ran 9 plays after Georgia jumped offside. They took 5:17 off the clock. 4th and 8, James Rendell. And takes a Georgia bounce back toward the 20-yard line. The one play that should not be forgotten, will certainly be talked about in the postmortems, is the play in the beginning of the second quarter. About a minute into the second quarter in a scoreless game, you see the official, the side judge, J.B. Garza, collide with someone on the Georgia sideline. The play went to the 11-yard line, 67 yards, but the 15-yard penalty brought it back to the 25. That's Parker Jones, a walk-on cornerback who hasn't played in the game this year. He must be absolutely devastated. They wound up settling for a field goal and took a 3-0 lead. They were poised to score a touchdown. Trevor Etienne, the running back. It's almost certainly a throwing game, and Stockton taken down, but they were trying to stop the play. The official on the far sideline was running in with his hands over his head.
False start. Number 11. Offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Arian Smith. So no timeouts. They have to score 2 touchdowns, trying to do it with Gunnar Stockton in his first college start. He's got 18 for 29 for 225 and a touchdown. No interceptions. He's been sacked 3 times.
And the protection's the problem right now. I mean, the left side of the offensive line has really struggled. So they'll line up an electric pass rusher and Snead on the edge.
They've been playing without Xavier Truss for a lot of this football game. Ordinarily, their right tackle. Ball got to Etienne for a 10-yard gain. So Freeling, who started at right tackle, has played left tackle. And Ernest Green is playing the other tackle spot. Leonard Moore up from the corner to drop Dylan Bell. Apparently there's something wrong with Truss, and he's realizing that his career is likely over.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, take some shots. I mean, I understand that it's hard to block these guys, but man, you got to throw it downfield. I mean, dink and dunk. 2-score game, can't do it.
Down to a minute to go. There is the deep ball, and it is incomplete. Leonard Moore had the coverage on Dylan Bell. Chance for Kirby Smart.
Now you can think about, hey, take what you got to get to make sure it's a first down to extend this game a little longer.
If they don't get the 6, Notre Dame is heading to the college football playoff semifinal in the Capital One Orange Bowl against Penn State a week from tonight. Stockton sacked by Donovan Heinisch. And a fitting ending as the defense gets a sack of Stockton to cap the win. And it's the depth. It's Heinisch, one of those who played a lot more today because of the injuries to those ahead of him.
And they've been working the left tackle all game long. A moment ago, he set really high. This time they switched the responsibilities as Heinisch draws the assignment of closing the game. He works right around Monroe Freeling and drops Stockton for the 4th sack of the game, putting this game on ice and punching their ticket to Miami, Florida.
Marcus Freeman and Al Golden have said every time they've had an injury, those who have been called upon to step in have done it. And this time it's Heinisch, the junior from Pittsburgh. Al Golden said, we'll move him around. He's quick off the ball. He's quick off the ball that time. They'll have to snap it one more time. So Georgia will have its season end. You know, a lot of people thought it was a struggle all along. You said Kirby Smart, you asked him about the inconsistencies, and I think we played consistently well. We just played a really hard schedule. But this was not as good a Georgia team as we've seen in the past. And it's the best Notre Dame team we've seen in a very long time. 13 wins is the school record now all by itself, and they hope they have 2 more to go. Marcus Freeman now 6-0 against ranked teams this year, and he's with Molly.